Welcome back to Marion's World, and I'm actually finishing the wreath on this page of the stitch journal. And the page itself isn't finished, that'll happen next week, but today I'm just going to fill in with all the little frothy bits and an extra leaf and some daisies. So I hope you enjoy putting them on. That's just to show you what it's going to look like by the time I've finished today's tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you at the end. This week on the page in the stitch journal, I'm actually just going to add a bit of froth, and by that I mean some French knots sprinkled around, some extra bit of greenery, because the final thing I want to do is add a motif up here, and it's a bit too long to put into one video. So this is all about frothing it up and bringing the whole wreath together as a finished thing, just waiting for the motif that will be in the top corner, which I think is going to be a butterfly. Anyway, that's for next week, and for this week I am going to be using some, this is actually candle wicking cotton, so it's a soft single ply cotton. I've got it in a needle with a sharp point and a long eye. I'm also going to use some white silk ribbon. It's very narrow, it's probably just about 3mm or something. Going to use a bit of that, and I'm also going to use some white beads, and for that I have a beading needle which is very fine, very long. It's about the same thickness all the way down from point to eye, so that it can get through the eye of the bead. And if you don't have any beads, don't worry about it, you can do it all with stranded cotton, and I would say maybe 3 strands would be the equivalent of what my candle wicking thread is. So I'm going to use all 3 in the hopes of adding some good texture to this wreath, but I'm going to start with the candle wicking thread, and I really just want to sprinkle some texture and some froth around. I'm going to do a 2 wrap French knot, which is 2 wraps around my needle, back down just beside where I came out. Don't pull your thread too tight or else you won't get your needle through, but keep the knot on the fabric until the last moment and then leave go, and you'll have a lovely French knot like that. And so there's not really anything to say about placement other than I'm just going to sprinkle them around, knowing that I'm going to be putting some beads and some ribbon in among. So there's frothy things like gypsophilia, frothy things like cow parsley, although this is not really a cow parsley shaped plant or anything. It's not the point, I'm just aiming for that look of a frothy filling flower. I was thinking of putting daisies on as well, but maybe down here. But I'll see how my filling flower goes. So I'm just going to go up and down and around and about, and I'll not go too far away from each other as I'm doing them. I just want to, build up a bit of frothy texture. And as you can see, I'm just sprinkling these about, and I'll probably just work around till I've finished this bit of thread and then change my thread to whatever. I've just pulled that knot right the way through. I must have gone down the same hole. There we go. Don't go down the same hole, your knot will go to the back. You need to go in a separate space. But I don't think you need to think too much about it. It's all just wanting to look natural and frothy. I do like this soft cotton. It came from a kit absolutely years ago that someone had started and not finished, and I wasn't really interested in doing the kit myself, although I did do some of it, and actually it never got finished. And the bit that I did do is cut up and then pieced together as part of the top of my sewing box, because I cleared out my sewing box of all the half finished and old things of embroidery that I didn't want to finish or wasn't interested in anymore. And instead of throwing them out or just putting them back in the box, I cut them all up and stitched them together with running stitch in sort of a cantha type of a style, and recovered the top of the sewing box. It had very degraded silk on it because it was my mother-in-law's. So it had originally had pale blue silk with a gold dragon embroidered on it. But years and years of being, I suppose, in the sun or whatever, had just destroyed the silk till the silk itself was so fragile. And when I inherited the box from her, I've used it ever since as a sewing box, but always the top was very fragile. And then about two years ago, I decided I was sick of seeing this bloomin' silk. Every time I did anything, it just sort of got worse and worse. And I thought, I can't take it off, it's part of the box. So I didn't take the old silk off, I left it and just made a new piece of fabric out of, as I said, all my old bits of cross stitch I'd never finished or I wasn't interested in, the bit of candle wicking that I did but I wasn't really interested in doing. So I've just got all the threads within my embroidery threads, and I just cut them all up, patched them together and made a new piece of fabric that would actually cover the box. I think I've actually made a knot there. Going to come back out. Something went wrong. I'm not concentrating. There we go. I'll take that out. And so that's what I did with them. So that's a good, things like that are quite good projects if you've got pieces of work that you haven't finished, and if you look at them and you think you really don't have any interest in finishing them at all, it's worth thinking about cutting them or piecing them together to make a piece of fabric you can do something with. You could make a pouch or a purse or cover an embroidery box like I did. And at least I see them now and they're not just in the back of my box. I'm quite happy with the way that's going. I might need more, but I'm just going to go up to here and sprinkle a few up here. This wasn't any particular thing, this piece of greenery, so I'm just going to sprinkle these French knots through. Might not be very visible. I'm trying to check the camera as I'm going. I can't always see it when I'm actually doing the stitching. It's going to just bring everything together, and at the minute this hasn't really got much colour. It's still all going to be white, but the texture will take the place of the extra colour. I might actually put a bit pale green in among it. I think that would probably look really nice. I'm just going to keep sprinkling. I'm nearly at the end of this bit of thread, and I think I will put ribbon on next and come through. I'm not even looking for a stalk, I'm just sprinkling them wherever I think needs something. So I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to make a French knot. I'm going to try just a single wrap because I think a double might be too much. But you'll see that this ribbon is very white, and so I am going to get a bit of variation. Actually, you can see a bit of blue on there as well. I think I quite like it. It's going in with the colours here. So a single wrap French knot for this ribbon. and I'm immediately getting depth because of the different colour and the different text, different shine of the thread that I'm using. I do like it a lot. I'm going to put some a bit closer together. Being careful to make sure that I am not going down in the same hole, because with this being tablecloth linen, the weave is open enough that the knot will get pulled all the way through, because it's already happened. Still the same, holding your knot down to the fabric before you let go. I'm just going to go through here, put one right in the middle of there, look, so it doesn't look too flat. I'll go over the top. I'll go with the two wrap, go with the two wrap, go over the top of my line, so I get some sort of 3D-ness going there. There we go. 1, 2. I've been so happy to see the lovely comments you've been leaving me about this embroidery, and I am going to try and get the pattern in the shop if I can, but I have just made it up as I've gone. I do have a drawn thing somewhere where I sort of basically put out what I wanted it to be. Got that too tight. But I think I've deviated from that already, because I just change my mind as I go. And what I hope I'm doing is giving you the confidence to just go with your own design, because it comes with practice. If you don't start doing it, you won't get the practice. But having said that, if people want me to do a pattern, I'm going to try. I say that I've been saying that for months, but I've never got round to it yet. Right, I think I'm nearly at the end of what I can get this to be. Pull that not too tight. There we go. So I'm going to come back with some beads, and then I'll work down the rest of it. I might as well get this little piece finished as I'm going. I like to change my threads every time. I don't know, I just like to change all the time. Every time I run out of a thread, I either do a different colour or something like that. Okay, I'm back. I've got my beading needle, which is really fine. You don't necessarily need a beading needle, you just need a needle whose eye will get through your bead. But I have one, so I'm using it, and I've got some white sewing cotton in my needle, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to sprinkle the beads through this French knotted up thing, and I'm just going to pick the beads out of my jar, hopefully. And then the trick with beads is not to go down in the same place, but to leave space for the bead. And then what will happen is that you'll be able to put it on the side, or you'll be able to, it won't wobble around. So leave space for the bead. And these are very white, so these are going to have that just variation of colour. And I'm just going to sew them down and sprinkle them through. And hopefully, I'm already decided I am going to put some green, very pale green through here as well. Just picking them up as they come from a little jar. These are just the little jars that you sometimes get in hotels with jam in. In fact, that one says raspberry, look. I haven't even taken the label off. Sometimes they don't come off very well. And how I store them is in among my beading thing. I put the lid on and I store them upside down like that, so I can look down on them and see the colour rather than having the lid upwards. So they all get stored like that on top of each other where I can see the colour. So they're really good if you come across them. They're so excellent for storing the little beads. Actually, I've just had an idea that maybe I could have used pale green cotton on these beads and it would have added a the little bit of pale green that I'm after. So I am actually going to finish this little bit off and I'm going to try putting the pale green. I think I've got some pale green sewing cotton, otherwise I'll use a single strand of floss, and I'll just have a practice and see whether it looks nice with the green cotton sewing them down. Oh, I've just dropped my bead. There we go. Try not to drop the beads and come up in the right place. Oh, I've got 3. There we go. So I'm probably going down about 2 threads away from where I've come up, because you don't want your bead to be wobbly. And go over there again. I don't want to go too far with the beads before I've put the other colours in, or the other threads. So actually I'm just going to make another few, and then I'm going to change back to my candle wicking thread and carry onwards. But I think they're going nicely in. I've put this very, very pale green in my needle, so I'm back to my original needle that I was using. And this is just a piece out of my tangle, but it is super pale and there's just 2 strands and I don't have much more than this. So I'm just going to come back through here and near to the stem, I'm just going to, oh, my knot wasn't big enough there. I'm just going to sprinkle a few extra French knots, but I'm going to I think I'm going to do them quite at the base of the clusters a bit. I'll still do a 2 wrap and just see what it does. I think I quite like that. So it's 2 strands and I'm doing 3 wraps, but I think I probably would have preferred a 3rd strand on there, maybe. Just so it was in the same sort of thickness as my candle wicking thread and the ribbon. But it's working. It's working in the way I wanted it to, which is just I don't want the flat colour of just all one colour. I don't think I need as many of these as I need of the other ones, so I'm just going to be very sparse. Okay, I'm going to put the candle wicking back in and do a few more there and get to here before I bring you back. I've finished this bit up here, I feel. I don't think I need to do any more with it. And I've wandered down here with the candle wicking thread. And I've left it hanging because I'm not sure what else I'm doing here, but I know I need to add something here. I've just added a couple on top of the leaf because it's the way flowers go, don't they? They're in front and they're behind. But I definitely want to add something here. and I thought I'd do a daisy. So all I've done, I've just given myself a circle with just a normal pencil, and I've got my narrow ribbon in my needle again. I'm just going to put a daisy in with some ribbon stitch. So I've come up, I'm going to lay the ribbon where I want it to go, and then I'm going to pierce the ribbon with the needle. And what it'll do is it'll make the ribbon go down in a point. And that's called ribbon stitch. And I can pull it right into a point if I want to. So I'm going to do the sort of, I'm not going to just try and get them all in the same going round. I'm going to do a few like this. And get them all the same length. And then I can fill the inside. I can fill the other ones in afterwards. I can fill them in now that I've got something to go to. I'll put one in the middle. It's always easier, whether it's ribbon or just thread or wool, to do flowers that are radiating out like that, or else you do find that they wander off where they're supposed to be lying. But I can easily come back and fill these petals in. Each time I'm just piercing the ribbon. I'll fill that one in. I wanted to leave the circle so that I can put a nice middle in. Lie the stitch. I don't mind if they go into different lengths, as long as they stay, you know, relatively nice. So I'm going to go to here and lay the next one out. And shall I put it in front? I think I will. I'm going to put it in front of this leaf. I can just go straight over the top and then come back to fill in the ones that's missed out. Slide your ribbon and pierce it down. And you can leave the little tiny roll. There's a little tiny roll. I know it won't be so easy to see because it's white on white. There's a little roll there that makes a little V shape, and it's nice to actually leave that on and not pull it all the way through. I like the sound of the ribbon coming through. It's lovely. Makes a good noise. It's like those, what do they call them? Something ASMR videos where people just have the noises. Gonna go over that leaf. Just add 2 stitches into this bit, so we can see the leaf a bit more. I'm going to put it over the top of this as well. Am I? I think I am. Or no, I'm not. I'm going to put it underneath that one. I'll do little short stitches here. You can choose where you want to put it. Do you want it in front of one or behind one? So mine's going behind that one. Oh, I think I'm coming through the ribbon there. I'll just do a little stitch there rather than a ribbon stitch. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference, really. Not with this anyway. Right. Let's see what it looks like. Yep, I'm pleased with that one. And so I really need to get another daisy in. I think I'm going to, well, I'll finish this one off and come down to here, but I feel as if I need a leaf in here. So I'm going to finish this ribbon off and finish this daisy off first. Brought you in a bit so you can see what I'm doing. The tangles come up trumps again with a little bit of yellow and a bit of red, proper red, and a single strand of green, and that's how I'm going to finish off this daisy. So first things first, I'm going to put some French knots in the middle to finish the centre of the daisy off. I'll do 2 wrap knots. I think this is likely to be the end of the roses because it looks like the very same sort of a colour. So I'll just get as many in here as I can get. And down it goes. Okay, I'll finish that off. Now I'm going to put the single strand in my needle of the pale green. It is a little bit bright, but it'll manage perfectly nicely. And I'm just going to come up in on the petals, and I'm not going to do every single one, and I'm going to put a little straight stitch down to the centre. And I'm not going to do every single petal, but I'm just going to make sure that they end underneath those French knots. And I'm going about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 mil up the petal. Now I'm actually going to do the same with the red, but I'll do less petals because quite often daisies have the little red tips to their petals. And I think it's going to look nice, even though there's no red actually on the embroidery at the minute. A daisy would have red, so I'm putting it on. Right, I think that's enough for the green. Now there's 2 strands of this red, and I think I'm going to leave it at 2. I need more than just a tiny little mark. I need to actually see that there's a red there. So I'm going to come up, let me see, how am I going to do it? I'm going to come up right on the edge of where the ribbon went down. I'm just going to take a tiny little stitch, maybe 1 millimetre. That's all. I'll hop to the next one. Yeah, that's enough, that's all it needs. And I don't need to do every one because mostly they don't have them on every one, so I'll hop there, put another stitch, and just that little extra bit of realism. I'll do this one too. I think it'll show up nicely on the green. And I'll miss a couple out. I should have started here when I went round. Never mind. And then I will have to jump. I'm going to pretend there's actually a petal there. There isn't, but I'm going to pretend there is. It'll be an optical illusion. And go to that one. There we go. Oh, I think that's just perfection. So I'm going to finish this bit off now because I've left some threads underneath. So I'm going to turn over, finish that off and finish this bit, and then this will be done for this week because I want to do the butterfly next week. I definitely need this little space filling in, and I would like to do another daisy, but I feel as if I need the green, so I'm actually going to add a green leaf here, and I'm just going to put it in like that there, so you can see where I'm adding it, and then I'll add the half a daisy over the top, and I think that'll work really well. So I've got my crewel wool doubled up in the needle, and I am just going to do fishbone stitch. I'm going down on the vein of the leaf, and I'm going to keep coming up either side, working a couple of millimeters down on either the edge or the central vein. You can see the central vein's a little bit off centre for me. That's just the way the leaf's lying. And I think I'll just go down and up here now. And I can already see the difference that this is making, sorry. Still try and make my little jagged edge. I'm just going to keep going underneath the rows. And actually now I can do satin stitch, because you can't see the mid rib anymore, so I might as well just make the satin stitch and let it lie just underneath the rose petals. And I'll just do each side until I've got this nice green in. Well, that's really made a nice difference there. In fact, I don't know why that leaf wasn't in there from the beginning, but I thought maybe I was going to do something similar to this little piece here in there, but I've decided I didn't want to. So now I'm back to, I'll just park that needle up here, and I'll be back with the ribbon. And I'm going to do another daisy, and I'm just going to do part of a daisy here, I think. And I'll put a knot in my ribbon. This is another way of doing your ribbon knot. You can do a quilter's knot, so twice round, holding the tail, twice round your needle and pull the needle through, and that works just as well on ribbon to make a nice little knot. So I will come. I just have to decide, do I need the yellow middle to show or not? And I think I want a little bit maybe. So I'll start out here. I'll lay my first stitch about to there. And my next one out here. I think this is going to look really nice going over the leaves. So just doing the ribbon stitch, leaving the little tiny rolled up V at the end as I pull this through. There. And as you can see, I've still quartered the flower so I can get those radiating petals as even as possible. You want them all lying out from the middle. And if you just start and move round in one go, sort of like that, is they all start to veer off, and until they're not lying sort of correctly like that. And that is, it's easy to veer off. You think it's not going to happen, and then all of a sudden it has. And I feel as if I should do a third. Things come in threes, but actually I don't think I want to put another one in. I'd have to put it further here, or I'd have to do here maybe, but actually they're either side of the centre, and altogether the roses and those make up 5, which is a nice odd number. So I think I'm happy to just put 2 daisies in. Oh, might put one here. There's something missing here as well. A bit of greenery, or I might put a 3rd daisy there. In fact, now I've thought of it, that's what I'm going to do. And I'll finish this one the same as that one, and maybe put one here. I've finished for this week. I think I've sprinkled. I'll just explain what I've done. I added a little bit of greenery here just with stem stitch and some chain stitches, but I just kept doing it with the crewel wool that I had in my needle for there. And I didn't feel as if I wanted to put another full open daisy, so I've done a bud. So I've done sort of about 1/3 of a piece round, and then added the calyx at the bottom and a little thin stem going through. And I think with the little red touches on the top, that's looking quite nice in there. I carried on adding the beads down through here. So I've added more beads and French knots, and I've gone over the top of the leaves where I thought I just wanted them to be seen. And then here's the daisy over the top of the extra leaf, which is looking good. And because I'd done all of those knots on there, I've added some into here, but actually I've only done it with the beads. So I thought that the crewel wool was just going to be a bit too much, but I wanted the little bits of fluffiness to be through. So if you've not got beads, just do them with the stranded floss. Be perfectly nice, and you don't have to, but it sort of balances up my wreath. So I feel as if the wreath itself is now finished, and it just leaves me with the little motif to put here. And also it would be lovely for a little piece of wording or a little motif in the middle. Could put a little heart or just some lovely words. I definitely am not going to do that because, well, I just don't want to do that sort of a thing, but I definitely feel as if that would look lovely. So if you've got some sort of a wording that would look nice in there, I think that's just a good place to put something. A little heart would actually look really nice. I hope you enjoyed seeing all that frothy French knot goodness being put onto the stitch page. It's here. I've taken off the extra piece of fabric that I had to enable it to go in my hoop, and so actually I feel as if I've finished the actual wreath, and the next thing is just to put the little motif here, which I think it's definitely going to be a little butterfly because I've already done a stumpwork bee, so a little butterfly is going to go on there. And I definitely think, as I said in the video, it would be really lovely with some word or a little motif or a heart in the middle. I'm definitely not going to do that, I don't think, but it definitely would be a lovely addition. Or as a standalone piece to give as a gift, that would be lovely to put a little sentiment in there, and I think it would make a lovely standalone piece of work. So thank you for watching. Press me the like button if that's what you've liked, and subscribe if you feel like you want to see the rest of what's going on. And when I've finished next week, I'll be able to sew all of these pages together to make the first half of the book. And it's unbelievable to feel that it's nearly the solstice and nearly halfway through the year. It's, yeah, the year's going fast. Anyway, I'll see you next time you visit Marion's World, and until then, happy stitching everyone, and I hope you're enjoying this summer if you've got some summer, and if you're in the winter, I hope it's not too cold and wet. See you next time. Thanks. Bye bye.